Yes, guys, welcome back to the Brewers Watch YouTube channel. So, transfer deadline day is over. The window is now shut. So, let's talk about it. So, to start at near enough the start of the transfer window, the first signing came in, which was Kane Adam. Obviously, not seen much of him so far. So hopefully that turns out to be a really, really good signing, just like Tyree Shade, in which I will get onto later, just like Jake Beasley, just like Gordon Malife, who I will also get onto earlier. So obviously Kane Adam was the first signing that came in this season, and I don't really know much about him. I think he signed an 18-month contract at the club, so obviously not so great, but also maybe you never know. Hopefully he signs another contract later down the line and becomes a really good signing for the club. Next one is Andy Cannon, unknown to the end of the season from Wrexham. A lot of people have said that this is a massive signing. He's a good player. Getting up to fitness, getting back to how he was. He can be really good. And just think about that midfield, Charlie Webster and Andy Cannon in that midfield at their best. That could be a midfield that could really help us with our relegation fight and keeping us up in this season and keep us in League One next season. And the last signing today is Millers. He has signed from Hemel Hempstead today from non-league. Signed a 2.5-year deal. Again, it's non-league players that we're signing. Will they turn out great? Who knows? I mean, obviously Tyree Shade came from Eastleigh, who are also in non-league, has made a significant impact this season. There was a lot of rumours, was he going to leave? Good news is that he hasn't left. He's still here, so minimum we'll keep him to the end of the season, and I think in the summer he will definitely be sold to a championship club. I think a player of his quality, he will definitely be gone next season, just like Romain Barrel. But obviously this time he'll have a full season. He's not had a half season this time. Just like technically Barrel had a half a season because we didn't really start playing him until January, then onwards to the end of the season, then he'd have to QPR. So there's that. With the signings that have came in, out of 10 with all three of them combined, I'd have to say a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's been a very good transfer window for us. I feel like we could have definitely done a lot more with where we really needed to make the signings. I mean, yes, tactic wise, we needed to make the signings. We've not looked. I can't say we've not looked great because we score a lot of goals, but we also don't do well at the back. Obviously Fabio Tavares hasn't been great, so it's also good to see two strikers come in. Because we need that extra support up front. But it would have been nice to have someone that has that EFL experience, so just like Andy Cannon. But at the same time, we could have done with a winger. We could have done with at least one or two more wingers and more defenders. Obviously, we've got, Jasper Moon coming back, we've got Swaha, we've got Finn Delap coming back. But, in the long term, especially if, we come up against the bigger teams, that are pushing for the playoffs, yes, we do much better than we do against them than we do against teams below us, which is only like 3 teams, like the 21st. But at the same time, we've lacked a lot of quality in the back. So, there was a lot of rumours. I'm going to go into him now. Gordon Malife was obviously rumoured to leave. Salford looked like they were going to sign him. Obviously, there was rumours, I've seen on Twitter, basically, the last week, Salford, they want to sign Gordon Malife. Then I think it was yesterday or the day before, they were really pushing to sign him. So it must have been really close. I mean, on his Instagram, he put a story on there, and he was in Manchester, obviously, last night. Not like Fabio Tavares was in there too, but I don't think he was. I think it's probably a guy that looks like him, or unless Gordon Malife and Tavares are really good, good mates. You never know, So obviously there was, when you see that, you think looks like he's gonna leave, but Gordon Malife hasn't left. Salford obviously didn't get the deal done in time, or unless Burton rejected the move. we don't know, because there was nothing, you know, on Twitter that actually said Burton have rejected it. The last thing I saw was Salford were really pushing to sign Godwin Malife, but obviously, as you know, he hasn't gone. So massive news for us. You know, it's massive because, you know, we need all the players we've got. You know, we've had 3 signings. We're really happy to see no one leave except for one player, which is Hazelhurst. I think he only played like 3 or 4 times. But in those times that he played, he looked amazing. I mean, yeah, you know, he hasn't had that, you know, experience in League One or League Two, so you know, he was very out of experience. But when I saw him play, I saw some good things. I mean, obviously it weren't much, but I saw some things in Jesus that I thought, he looks like a player. You know, get him under, you know, get him into the team under Gary Bowyer, get him some minutes. He would do well, but unfortunately he hasn't really shined, and his contract was terminated today, which is obviously very unfortunate because I really thought he was a baller. You know, as I said, give him the game time. I think he could become a player like Tyree Shade, for example. And obviously the other news was Jake Beasley. There was a lot of rumours saying, is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? He said in the end, no offers. I think no offers came in for him. Obviously, Jake Beasley said, you know, it's not up to me if the club needs me to go. That's their choice. It's not under my control, and it isn't obviously under his control. But thankfully, he didn't leave. We are going to get back onto Tyree Shade, because Tyree Shade, obviously, he had a lot of interest from, you know, clubs in the Championship, but obviously, ultimately, Burton actually rejected it. There was a lot of, obviously, a lot of news on Twitter saying Burton Albion have rejected the deal. One deal that would have actually would be a club record fee. So, you know, to reject that, Burton, you know, it's really good to see us rejecting these, you know, proposals from other teams, rather than just thinking, you know what, he's done well for us for 6 months, give us some money, we're going to get someone else. You know, look back on, like, Victor Adebayo. He was there for 6 months, did incredibly well. I mean, was it the hat-trick against Charlton, that 3-3 draw? What a game that was. I don't know if it was a third goal when it just rolled into the top left-hand corner, but I was on the right-hand side of the goal, and I just see that ball just come straight into the top left, and oh my God, when he hit that beautiful, you know, I think it was a goal against Forest Green Rovers as well, you know, edge of the box, just curls it into the top right-hand corner, beautiful goal, and we were down to 10 men as well. You know, Victor Adebayo, you know, he was there for 6 months, as I said, and then left to go to Bolton Wanderers, you know, to a bigger club, you know, because he deserved it. He deserved it, and didn't get the game time that he needed because he just wasn't, you know, doing well at Bolton. He couldn't find his form under a different manager, you know, different surroundings. So obviously now he's at Mansfield. So, you know, it's good to see Tyree Shea will still be here for 6 more months, and I definitely think he will leave in the summer. Same with Jake Beasley, and the same with Godwin Malife. I see all 3 of them leaving, but obviously when they leave, then, you know, we've got more time to go out and find a replacement if we need one. Obviously we've got Dylan Williams, you know, we've got Kyron Lofdals, filling out 3 players that I'm sure could fill that right back role very well. But obviously Kyron Lofdals, he plays more of a right mid role and pushes up forward. So overall in the transfer window, with the players, and obviously we've not let anyone go except from Hazelhurst, I think not let anyone go, 9 out of 10. Obviously I think that's, you know, a strong point, but in the players that we sign, I just don't agree with it really. I mean, obviously players from non-league, they could turn out to be world-class players, obviously, as I say, like Tyree Shade, but we need obviously those players who are more experienced, or like, you know, mid-20s, that, you know, have had the experience at this level. But I'm not going to complain. You know, it's 3 more players that I can see playing in the Burton Albion shirt, and 3 more players that I really hope they can do well. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, a lot of topics to talk about. Let me know how your teams have done in the transfer windows, and let me know what you think of the Burton Albion's transfer window in January. If you like the content, like and subscribe. You know, it'll be nice to try and hit 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I think my goal is 200, but it's very difficult to get subscribers on here. But nevertheless, thank you for watching. Like the video, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.